we do this through networking events, master classes, online content, and also different various learning programs. So we cover varying range of topics that are get towards assisting entrepreneurs in growing their businesses. So join us on our social media platforms at Entrepreneurship to the Point. So we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, and also Twitter. And please also follow us on YouTube. This webinar is also being broadcasted live on YouTube. So today I'm being joined by what I would say an overachiever, a young entrepreneur in the construction space, a woman who has really taken the bull by the horn. She's, for me, we have developed a great relationship over the years. So we'll be getting to the point, understanding her journey, her entrepreneurial journey, and also just also getting the insights around what she believes is the right way to get into the space, and also going further to get in conversation about what she's been able to do as an entrepreneur in response to COVID-19. We know it has been a difficult time for leaders, especially entrepreneurs in the space, in particular in South Africa, where we experienced a lockdown, a hard lockdown where businesses were not operating. So and without further ado, please join me in welcoming Alice Madisha. She is the director of Madisha and Madisha, and she's also a co-founder of She's Alice Workwear. So Alice, welcome to Entrepreneurship to the Point in Conversation series. How are you feeling today?
I'm good, thanks in yourself, Kujo. Thanks for the introduction.
Yeah, no, great. I think you absolutely done great, and you look amazing.
Thank you.
So Alice, I just wanted to know, how was the lockdown for you? So at level 5, as an entrepreneur, how did you kind of remain calm in the difficult time?
Actually, lockdown for me has worked on my advantage. I'm sure a lot of people would be like, things have stopped, but for me, it has worked on my advantage in a sense that it gave me time to reflect back, to be able to plan. And because, on a day-to-day life before lockdown, you don't have time to do those plans. You don't have time to do the crux of the business in what you want to do, in what you want to concentrate on. So basically, it has slowed me down to be able to get myself into the picture. And the major thing that I have been doing is basically studying through EDPF, Enterprise Development Property Fund.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we've been attending some sessions, like literally lockdown for me, it hasn't been a lockdown. It has been a lockdown of mind.
It's quite interesting to hear.
Yes, attending sessions and the TTP as well. So yeah, it's basically having to get more information.
Yeah, I think that's great, because for a lot of people, you can easily fall into a panic mode and kind of, it affects your normal flow. But the fact that you've taken advantage of the time to reflect and also to study further is great. So just to give the viewers an idea of what Inspiring Sessions about. So this is a platform where we create an opportunity for entrepreneurs to hear stories of challenge, of adversity, of success, of innovation. And also generally to hear from successful entrepreneurs who they inspire to, which I have no doubt that there's a lot of young entrepreneurs coming in the space that really looking forward to hearing what you have to say and also understanding your journey over the time. So I just want to start where it started, right? You grew up in Leboagomo, southeast of Polokwane. You went to SA Fandimerwe.
It's actually Limpopo, Madisha.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So growing up and now going to TUT to study construction management, how I want us to understand what has been your entrepreneurial journey until you started Alice and Madisha, Smith and Madisha in 2011.
Basically, when growing up, grew up with my grandparents and my brothers, and so what we were doing, we were selling some knickknacks at school. We would have yearly trips, And then, but for us, by selling the, what do you call it, the knickknacks, we would save it. We will save it basically to have pocket money on December trips. So, and again, growing with a grandparents that is taking care of a family, that was big. And again, we would sell ice creams, the blankets. So we were basically selling so that's what I know. That's how I grew up. And I grew up knowing that, you've got to have to do something. You can't just have the qualification and then just get a job.
Yeah, so no, conveniently enough, also grew up in the north, in a small town of Mokopane. Similar story, my grandmother, same thing. So growing up around, but for the greater part of it, you don't realize that you are growing up in an entrepreneurial environment because it's survivalist more than anything else. But you got employed by CPRO in 2009 after completing your studies. And then 2 years after that, you just quit and decided to get into entrepreneurship. What was the thought process? I mean, what kind of made you to decide that? Because a lot of the times, entrepreneurship is this difficult game that is very challenging. A lot of us have great ideas, but to just take the leap of faith is very difficult. Please take us through the journey.
That journey was quite amazing because what I had told myself is because normally after graduating, you go get a job in the government and then get the benefits and stuff like that. So for me, what I had done, I said to myself, I give myself 3 years in the private sector. If nothing happens, then I'll literally just then go to the government sector. So, but fortunately, that's where I've met with Yanni. He was my mentor at CPRO. So that's when Smith and Madisha was birthed. And yeah, from there, the journey, from there, that's how it all started.
So you met up with Jenny at the time. You were still young, very ambitious, and normally just around the time you want the least stress as possible. What were some of the challenges that you experienced? Very young, fresh from university, getting in a sector that is predominantly males. How did you navigate that?
For me, navigating is basically let your work speak for you. Do what you have to do. It's got nothing to do with anyone. It's got everything to do with what you have to do. So basically, and in starting the business all I knew was construction. And which is I undermined in terms of having to start to say, you get the job and then not understanding that there's a lot of things that you have to do as a business owner. There's marketing, there's development, there's a lot of things that the sales, the procurement, getting the jobs, all those kind of processes that you have to do. But in the journey, that's where I came to Property Point. And that journey as well has actually groomed me to be able to understand the other dynamics of the business, which is you make mistakes and then you learn and then you improve. So yes, that's how it all started. And when we started, we actually didn't have a website. We didn't have the marketing side of it until we came to Property Point and understanding the importance of branding, importance of all this other stuff. So basically that has been the journey.
Okay, no, that's great. And also just including Property Point. So just to give our viewers a bit of a background. So I met Alice for the first time in 2016. She was on the Property Point program. We met actually at an entrepreneurship to the point session. You were this bubbly, full of energy and always willing to learn and provide feedback. And those were some of my fond memories of you. Now, you spoke a lot about, challenges coming from a construction background, not understanding entrepreneurship. So in essence, you were not really entrepreneurial, but you understood the construction sector itself. How did you handle doubt? And I'm sure there were days where you're like, oh, do I want to do this? How did you handle that?
For me, as handling doubt, all that you do is, I was in a place where I cannot afford to fail. And I put myself in that space. So it did not matter what came to the table or came my way. I just knew that I cannot afford to fail. So that's what kept me going. And then by the years, what happens is I had a daughter, and obviously now it's even more reason not to afford to fail. And what I've realized is even right now, I still have those days where, you're like, I cannot. But at the end of the day, what I've realized is we are someone can be as low as their mindset. As long as you put your mindset right, and you know that, what, this is what you have to do. And you just have to do what you have to do. Put them down, write them down, and then do it. So that's basically it. Just do it.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned the mindset, because happiness is important. We will all agree. And, there are some entrepreneurs who have sacrificed their health, some their sanity and happiness in pursuit of money. And I think the ones that are truly happy, however, are those that, have found a way to balance the various facets of their lives. And, having a daughter to motivate you to be the best version of yourself, to continuously forge on, it's very important. And so saying, I mean, are you happy? Are you genuinely happy? And what is it that you would change in your entrepreneurial journey if you had an opportunity to do so?
Look, for me, I am happy, and I don't see myself in other spaces. And the other thing that I would like to share is that, look, in an entrepreneurial journey, it's hard, and there will be times where it's like you ask yourself, how am I going to survive? A typical, just an experience, like early this year, I had a what do you call it, an operation. That's when I thought, like, I'm down and out. I cannot,
Sorry about that.
Coming out of it, the car got hijacked. The only thing that was helping me to be able to move around, I got hijacked just before lockdown. But I said to myself, I cannot fail. I cannot afford to fail. So I kept on going. Even right now, I'm keeping on going and planning and putting it down. And again, the other thing is having to get people that can support you, family, friends, people that you can talk to. You can undermine just speaking to people. It helps. For me, I talk a lot. I think you know that. I
definitely know that. I like the energy that you bring into the room, and the fact that you speak your mind, but always being aware of who's in the room. And I think absolutely brilliant. You're right. Entrepreneurship is glorified, not only in South Africa, globally. It's oftentimes entrepreneurship. The nice part about the entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, especially flashing assets and all that. But it's always important to be aware of adversity, like I had mentioned before. I mean, there's always going to be challenges. You're either going to be challenged individually or as an entrepreneur in decision making. You mentioned getting into business with a partner, and then Janine is older, much more experienced, and this was a joint partnership. In terms of decision making, how did you guys, as a young person, influence decision making? I mean, what steps did you take to ensure that your voice is heard? That the decisions that you make about where you want to see the companies are adhered to. How did you effectively ensure that your voice is loud enough?
For me, in that space, is basically a matter of having the same vision and trusting that your business partner is making the right decision for the business, and same as him trusting me that I am doing the right decision for their business. So basically, it's having that ground rule to say, this is what we are doing, this is where we are going, and this is the bigger picture. And immediately that one is set, whatever decision that is made, that is being done to enhance and actually to advance the vision that the company has.
Yeah, that's great. So just briefly before we get into speaking about how COVID-19 has affected your business, you co-founded another entity called She's Alice Workwear. Please tell me about that.
In terms of the workwear, I've partnered with Liao Slashe, and which is on on that one, we have realized that as women, especially with the small bodies, we don't have sizes. Wherever we go, you find big cars trying to make them small so that women can fit. So that's where the problem is. And it's actually not a fashion line. And people, which is, they say it's a fashion line. It's not a fashion line. It's a workwear where women can be comfortable in the space where men are mainly dominated. Because this industry is men dominated, and which is, we were never accommodated. We just accommodated by the numbers and all this representative, but not the whole, the appearance wise, how we were, how we have to present ourselves. So basically it's from that point of view.
Okay, no problem. Now, getting into the thick of things, COVID-19, it has tested a lot of business models. It has also tested leadership in some aspects. So as a business leader, as a director, as somebody who's responsible for the strategy of the company, how has your business been affected by COVID-19?
It's been affected in such a way that no income is coming. Employees are being paid half, and at some point no income. But obviously it's something that everybody's going through. It's having to assure that assure ourselves to say we are not the only ones. There are people who are suffering worse than us. So we must just keep on pushing. We must just keep on going on, fix whatever we have to fix so that we can be able to move forward. So basically it's just putting your head above waters, just getting your mind right every day, not falling into the trap of giving up or giving into all this bad news that are going around. And right now it's just a matter of having to look on more opportunities, what can come up and all those kind of stuff.
Knowing what you know now, your COVID-19, obviously, I mean, it has affected cash flow, it has affected staff morale, and opportunities are not coming as thick and fast as they would ideally do in a normal environment. And a lot of experts have been saying that, the world has been accelerated by at least 10 years. What are you putting in place to ensure that, your company survives through this difficult time?
For me, it's so funny that sometimes a difficult time, you can't really plan for it, but you can't really plan so that you can go through it, but you can prepare yourself for it. So basically it's in a sense that there must be more product, or in terms of the insurances, because our insurances, they don't have such. But obviously in terms of planning, so that we can plan, because remember, this pandemic that we are facing, it's affecting everybody. There's no way where you can say you are going to put your head on. Everybody is suffering. So basically it's probably the insurance, insurance, what do you call it, industry, so that they can see how they can put the model so that while everybody is on a standstill, something else is moving. And basically for the companies to be able to invest more, so that in such times when you are looking for a relief, you are able to get it because of the track record that you have. Because if you have a bad track record and you're not compliant, it becomes an issue. You won't be able to get the relief funds or whatsoever that is being on the table.
Speaking of relief, did your company have cash reserves, or were you reliant on the relief packages?
We actually we were fortunate enough that there was some project where they owed us the retention monies, and which is that money was supposed to be for the growth, not for what do you call it, not for having to survive. So basically right now it has put us in a disadvantaged space where you can't really when a new project is coming, you have to literally start from scratch, So
that's a great challenge. That's a great challenge. Look, when you first start a business, what you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Some are unavoidable. So the fewer mistakes you make, the better. And if you're really smart, you'll pay attention to all the mistakes that a business before, and you know the way that you can avoid such mistakes. What are some of the mistakes that you wished you could have avoided?
For me, I would say every mistake that I have made, it has taught me something. If I wouldn't have made those mistakes, I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't know what I know. You understand? And what I believe is, I believe that every leader, they lead with the guts, not that I know something. They lead with thinking that I'm doing the right decision at that point in time. And for me, I always think that whatever decision that you have made at that point in time, you thought it was right. And at that moment, it was right. So for me, I would not say I would take it back, because that means my growth would have been tempered with. My strength would have been tempered with. So for me, everything that has happened. And for me to be able to make better decisions and growing bigger, because if ever I didn't make those decisions, probably I would make that decision with billions, and that was gonna like literally burn me, you know. But if I've made it with millions, then it's okay, because I have learned. It's a learning curve, because failure is just the route to success.
Yeah, that's good. I like, yeah.
It's, you can't take it back. That means then it's half.
I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying, because a lot of people have a problem with failure. And what you just simply said is that you need to embrace failure, and you need to fail fast and fail forward, because that's the only way you can be able to learn. And earlier on, you spoke about the importance of having a support structure around you, because it does get difficult. And you also mentioned the importance of seeking out programs like Property Point, as you had mentioned, so that they can help you to to build a successful business. You need that support. You need a sound voice. Sometimes you have these crazy ideas, but when you have somebody around to advise you, it's always easier to bounce off ideas, and they will guide you, and you can avoid making some of these mistakes. Did you see any opportunities for your business to grow post COVID-19, or just even now going forward?
Yes, I have. Actually, through PDF right now, studying property development and investment, property investment. Construction is just a wheel. That's what I've realized. It's a wheel that, we've built malls, Nando's and all that, but I cannot go to Nando's and say, hey, I want my chicken, because I've built it. Yeah. You can't say that. So for you to be able to be inventive, I said, you know what, I'm in construction, and let me increase my value chain, be a developer. That means I can be a developer, I can be a contractor, but in the same value chain. So that's what I'm in actually. And eTTP is actually assisting me right now to be able to purchase my first development or do my first development. And with that, we have to, it got me to think that we have to start creating our own jobs, not depending on the tenders. They are okay, but we have to increase our income stream, our knowledge. Just that you can't just be in construction alone, but you can still do other things in the same value chain and be able to reinvent yourself in the wheel. Then today you are an investor, on the other project, you're the developer, on the other one, you're a contractor. So your income stream is actually increased at that point, So for me, that's what I have realized. That's the opportunities that I've seen, and that's what I'm climbing on.
No, well done, Alice. So just lastly, we are in Youth Month, and you spoke about the importance of creating jobs, and you'd know this best because you literally only worked for like 2 years before you ventured into entrepreneurship. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs, very young, do not have resources, they've got these great ideas? What advice would you give to them?
I would say for me, they need to start at a certain point. Be something that, let's say, for example, be the employee that you want to employ. be at the bottom to be able to know the game. So that even when you are at the top, you know what to look for. That's the first thing that I would say. And again, even if you don't start there, but expose yourself. There's a lot of seminars, there's a lot of incubations, there's a lot of people that you can communicate with on Facebook or on not Instagram, but on
that as well.
yes, you can still do that on LinkedIn. So basically is get yourself out there, meet the right people, associate yourself with the right people. And sometimes when you have an idea, it can take 10 years to basically come off. So you must be able to persevere. You must be able to stay in the game, So and don't give up.
So perseverance, stay in the game, don't give up, learn the trade. So those are some of the important characteristics that you need to have as an aspiring entrepreneur who wants to get into a cutthroat industry. And then I like the fact that you spoke about the importance of knowing the industry that you're getting in, and that it's hard. It's hard. It's not something that you get into and start making money. You need to pay the school fees. You need to do the groundwork. Alice, thank you so much for coming onto the platform to share your experience and just to really be open about what it takes to be a great entrepreneur. I wish you all the best in all your endeavors. And I just want to say we need to always meet each other with a smile. For the smile is the beginning of love. So we need to keep on beginning and failing, because if each time you fail, you need to start over, and because you'll grow stronger until you have accomplished your purpose. Sometimes not necessarily the one that you began with, but the one that you'll be glad to remember. So in short, thank you so much, Alice. And I hope COVID-19 does not sweep you under, but you emerge very strong.
Never. Thank you so much for the invitation. And I had a great time chatting to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. You all heard it from the horse's mouth. Entrepreneurship is not hard, but if you stay the course, you will be victorious at the end of the day. So our next session tomorrow, we will be unpacking the Township and Rural Economy Fund. So our host, Sean Tienerson, the founder of Property Point and Entrepreneurship to the Point, will be speaking to our guest, Lutando Butula from Ubank, to break down the 1 billion fund that has been reserved for township and rural, just the urbanization and also supporting entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs coming out of those areas. It has been very great being with you guys, and also in celebration of Youth Month. In Conversation Series, I will be hosting another session next week with another all-rounder, a young female entrepreneur, the first in many fields. I think it's going to be a great session. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. You can also access the recording of this webinar on YouTube at the comfort of your own time if you joined us late. Thank you so much, Bradley. I don't know if we have the slide for next week's webinar with details.
Yeah, I'll put that up in a bit.
Okay, and also don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at eTTP.co.za. There's also some of the historic sessions that we've had under the Inform, Equip, and Inspire tag.
Thanks, George. We'll just wait a few minutes as we put the slide up now. Thanks,
Okay,
George.
not a problem. Thank you, Brad. Thank you. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we'll be there telling a story of the the creative visionary. She's an enthusiast and an architecture by trade. She's a musician. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Please join me. Let's break it down. Thank you.